Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am super thrilled to have you here. We are about to jump right into a fascinating architectural journey into the multi-cloud era. If you're focused on building resilient, scalable, and truly modern infrastructure, you are in the exact right place. We're going to unpack the blueprints that the most successful organizations out there are using right now to completely master their cloud domains.
To really put into perspective why this matters today, get this. Gartner predicts that by 2025, a whopping 75% of enterprise customers are going to adopt a deliberate multi-cloud strategy. That is a huge jump from just a couple of years ago. We're no longer talking about accidental multi-cloud, where different departments just happen to swipe a corporate credit card for different providers. No, this is a deliberate, highly strategic shift to leverage the absolute best of what AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and the rest have to offer.
So, to make sense of this massive transition, we're going to build our knowledge logically, layer by layer, just like a blueprint. First, we'll look at the multi-cloud shift. Then, core architectural patterns. Third, the connectivity challenge. Fourth, how to tame multi-cloud chaos. And finally, the blueprint for success.
Okay, let's dive right into part one, the multi-cloud shift, moving from single cloud dominance into the multi-cloud era.
Now, before we get too deep in the weeds, let's just make sure we draw a hard line between two terms that honestly get mixed up all the time: multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. Multi-cloud is the strategic use of multiple public cloud vendors. Think using AWS for compute, Google for AI, and maybe Azure for Active Directory, specifically to avoid dependency on any single provider. Hybrid cloud, on the other hand, is all about bridging your own on-premises data centers with public cloud resources. While both definitely give you flexibility, multi-cloud is entirely focused on diversifying your public provider portfolio so you can optimize performance, features, and cost. And there's a great quote from Gartner analyst Simon Richard that perfectly captures the mindset we need for this shift. He says, "Treat cloud networking as its own domain." This is absolutely crucial. Networking in the cloud is fundamentally different from routing traffic in a traditional on-prem data center. I mean, the native constructs of AWS just don't behave exactly like the native constructs of Azure. Because of that, having a dedicated intentional multi-cloud plan isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's quite literally essential to your survival in a distributed environment.
Which brings us to part two, core architectural patterns. This is where we build the foundation.
And let me tell you, the payoff for getting this foundation right is huge. Research actually shows that implementing formalized workload distribution patterns yields an average 31% improvement in overall system resilience. Think about that. That means 31% fewer of those late-night pager alerts, way less service disruption, and just a far more robust application experience for your end users.
But how do you actually distribute those workloads in the real world? Well, it generally comes down to two dominant setups. The absolute gold standard for mission-critical apps is an active-active configuration. It offers up to 99.99% availability because traffic is actively being served from multiple clouds simultaneously. The catch? It requires intense data synchronization and is highly complex. For a more pragmatic approach, you've got an active-passive setup, which provides incredible operational simplicity. You basically have a primary cloud running the show with a secondary cloud on standby. And the best part here is that implementation costs are, on average, 40% less than active-active. It's a really solid, pragmatic choice for organizations that need to balance strict compliance with their actual budget realities.
All right, moving on to part three, the connectivity challenge, or how we actually frame this network. When it comes to connecting all these pieces, you're constantly balancing cost against latency and complexity. But you definitely have options. Virtual private networks, or VPNs, are incredibly cost-effective. They offer about a 45% reduction in network operational costs compared to dedicated lines. But because they traverse the public internet, your latency can definitely fluctuate. Then you have dedicated options, right? Like AWS Direct Connect or Azure Express Route. These give you highly consistent latency and massive bandwidth, but obviously, they come at a premium cost. Finally, you've got transit gateways. These act as central hubs, massively simplifying those complex routing topologies across providers. Though, it's worth noting they do introduce their own learning curves when you're dealing with multi-cloud architectures.
To really wrap our heads around this, think of your multi-cloud network as a massive global transit system. The individual clouds, AWS, Azure, GCP, those are your major cities. Your direct connects and express routes, those are the high-speed dedicated superhighways connecting those cities together. Transit gateways act as the dispatch stations, efficiently making sure traffic gets routed to its exact destination. And in the world of IoT, where you have devices spread all over the globe, we use packet gateways, or PGWs, for what we call local breakout. Instead of sending a device's data from a sensor in Tokyo all the way to some central hub in New York, the PGW just drops it on the local highway right there in Tokyo. That drastically reduces latency.
But here's the reality. Without an abstraction layer and some form of centralized control, trying to natively map and manage these complex network interconnections across different providers is practically impossible. But when you orchestrate it properly, using a platform like Aviatrix, for example, the whole thing transforms from a tangled, fragmented web into a beautifully functioning, unified data plane.
And that leads us directly into part 4, taming multi-cloud chaos. Essentially, installing the security system.
Let's talk stakes for a second, because they are incredibly high. The average total cost of a data breach in a hybrid or multi-cloud environment is a staggering $4.24 million. I mean, that is a business-altering amount of money. But here's the good news. Organizations that proactively implement mature zero-trust architectures, meaning absolutely no user or workload is trusted by default, achieve an average of $1.76 million in savings when a breach does occur. And if you add security AI and automation into the mix, that cost drops even further. So the financial incentive to get your security right is pretty much undeniable.
But hey, it's not just hackers draining your budget, it's also your own internal sprawl. Studies show that a massive 30% of cloud spend is entirely wasted. Without centralized governance, what happens? Development teams just spin up resources across different providers, completely forget about them by lunchtime, and suddenly you've created massive operational blind spots and a seriously bloated monthly bill. So to stop this sprawl and actually secure your perimeter, you need abstraction. Platforms like Aviatrix sit above the clouds, basically abstracting the native APIs of AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud into one single centralized controller. This is a game changer. It allows your team to automate service insertion, like effortlessly dropping in a Palo Alto or Fortinet firewall, and enforce unified security policies universally, regardless of which cloud the workload actually lives in.
All right, we made it to part 5, the blueprint for success. Let's add those smart home features to our architecture.
Let's break this down into actionable steps. First, you've got to adopt a truly cloud-agnostic architecture. Abstract your network to avoid being locked into a single vendor's proprietary tools. Second, enforce centralized identity and access management, or IAM. Consolidating these identities across all your clouds has actually been proven to drop security incidents by a massive 37%. And third, automate everything using infrastructure as code. Leveraging tools like Terraform ensures that your deployments are consistent, they're repeatable, and they are completely free from human configuration errors.
But you can't just set it and forget it. You have to optimize continuously. Standardize your operations with unified monitoring so you aren't logging into 5 different dashboards just to see if your network is up. Automate your disaster recovery testing too. Organizations that actively do this experience 25% less downtime during actual outages. And finally, put strict FinOps cost management frameworks in place. Doing this systematically identifies waste and drives an average of 25% in budget savings.
To really solve that multi-cloud blind spot we talked about earlier, you have to bring all that fragmented, global traffic into one cohesive view. A unified observability dashboard, like Aviatrix Copilot, shows you exactly what is happening in real time, literally everywhere. It completely eliminates the guesswork of trying to track where your traffic is going across the globe.
And it goes way deeper than just looking at a global map. Centralized observability gives you dynamic flow analytics. This means your network operations teams can instantly identify anomalies, view exact application paths step by step, and resolve connectivity bottlenecks that previously would have taken days to track down using native tools. It empowers your team to actually work at the speed of the cloud, rather than the speed of a manual audit.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. After walking through this entire blueprint, from the strategic shift in foundational patterns all the way to taming the chaos with centralized control and observability, I want to leave you with one absolutely critical question. Is your architecture driving your business, or is your cloud provider driving your architecture? Intentional multi-cloud design puts the control right back in your hands. So, take these blueprints, apply these best practices, and build an infrastructure that empowers your business to thrive anywhere. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really can't wait to explore more with you next time.